we got it at such a drastic discount. And my first investor was someone who had, you know, a portfolio of over 200 properties, which is not common for a first investor. Loads of times it's people in middle management or in decent sales roles that have 30, 40, 50k saved is going to be your kind of first investor. So to get in with someone who had such a big portfolio, that itself opened a couple of doors for me as well, you know. And from there, that makes it feel real, doesn't it? Because you've invested in your education, and you're ultimately waiting for a payoff. Because same way someone would go and spend years at university, whether you're waiting to land a job within your sector, which seems to be very hard for university graduates just now. You know, you go and get a master's in something, next thing you're working in Lidl. It's the most random thing ever. But you're waiting for that payoff, and that feeling I got when that money landed in the bank, I think it was like £6,000 total is what I got from the full thing. Now, I wouldn't do this now, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to do it, but I took like half fee up front, half fee afterwards, because I didn't have that confidence yet to really know my own value. Because I'm toiling with myself. I've never done this before. Like, am I going to be able to make this happen? Like, you're just fighting with yourself constantly, aren't you? So when that money hit the bank, I was like, wait a second, right? That's 6,000. But I'd never. The first time I had over £1,000 in my bank in my life, I think I was 22 years old. And the reason that happened was I'd sold something, and then you know what, like Christmas is a worth key, you get 2 or 3 weeks wages paid the last Friday, and then you're skint 10 days later and like eating pot noodles for like until end of January. I got paid and I had like £1,001 in my bank. And I went and bought a turbo kit for my Honda Civic at the time, right? It cost me like 700 quid and I never fitted it. But I wasn't used to having, like, £6,000 to me was like, whoa, like, slow down, this is mental. Now, obviously, my good friends at American Express needed a little chunk of that because I'd used an Amex card, like a personal Amex card, to get myself all set up in terms of my sites and little bits of ad spend. And by the way, that's a whole other podcast. I spent £2,000 on ads that never actually ran. Prior to Facebook being a really sophisticated system, I spelled my own domain wrong and ran all these ads to a website that didn't even get anything. It was just a nightmare, some of the stuff I'd done. I learned some really important lessons, right? But it paid off like the Amex stuff, and then I'm like, right, okay, I've got like 2.5, 3 grand sitting here. That's sick. And I know plenty of people, and maybe I've been like this in the past, but they get that 2 or 3 grand and they sit on their backsides for, you know, a month or so, and then they're like, right, okay, better go out and make some money. That just wasn't me. I was like, right, what is next? And, you know, a couple more traded deals after that, and then my good friend ego kicked in, unfortunately. And you'll remember this conversation me and you had, and I was just about to join your platinum community at the time, and I'd made, through my traded deals, 10k in a month for the first time in my life. And the first thing I done was I went and bought a Rolex, which I still have today. I've sold all my other Rolexes, all my watches gone, minus that one watch because it means so much to me. I bought in Chisholm Hunter and Silverburn. I was having a Yosushi and I seen it sparkle in the window. And it was only like, you know what it's like. You've got some nice watches now as well. And
by the way, I was never a watch man until I met you.
Oh, really? Class. You weren't a supercar man either. But I seen this watch. I bought it. It was like £5,250, which in terms of some of the other watches I've bought, you might have bought, or just Rolex in general, is a very entry-level watch, but that to me was like insane. Like, I went home and showed it to my mum, and my mum was just like, she thought I'd like flown to Turkey and bought it off some guy on the beach or something, right? It was just, it was mad. But I was going through this period of starting to get a bit of confidence about myself, you know, and I got my A45 AMG, I've done my traded deals, and I'm starting to get a little bit of momentum, and that first assisted sale comes along. And see, once you've done an assisted sale, I imagine it's almost like people who have big buy-to-let portfolios and then they get an SA and they go, wait a minute, what am I? They could have an amazing buy-to-let that's like net positive cash flow, 500 quid a month. There's people out there that do it for 50, 60 quid, nutters, right? But they look and they go, this SA is pulling in, you know, £2,000, £3,000, and they're like, what am I doing with the 15 properties? So as soon as I landed that assisted sale, I was like, wait a second, like that this is a totally different game, right? And from that, you know, I got it was more money in, which was funded by an investor, and that investor meeting I really nearly messed up really badly by trying to be too funny. You know me, I'm a joker, mate. Like, I'm such a joker. I always try and make people laugh, but I also struggled to understand my audience at that point. I was making so many mistakes, and just like, it's like when you watch someone on ice and they're sliding but they've not quite fallen yet, but you're waiting for it. That was me just finding my way through this, right? But on the outside you'd have seen consummate professional, like totally fine. And I nearly messed up that meeting by like making a joke to get, not like an inappropriate one, but just like a funny joke, and the guy being like, what are you talking about? And you know, you just want the ground to swallow you up. So it was more money going in, and then it was my first time having an investor in terms of putting actual cash into something. So then I had to make sure they were paid off, and then paid myself off. And that project wasn't without its, you know, problems. As it was just about to be listed, someone broke into the house, and the person who broke into the house was the person who used to own it, because they'd went out and got drunk and forgot that they didn't live there, and they've tried their key and then just booted the door in, which I could totally imagine myself doing, right? Like, not because I'm a drunkard, but you would just think, my key's not working, I'll boot my door in, I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'd done that in my old house at Glasgow Harbour, right? Not drunk, totally sober, but you need to get in and get somewhere to sleep. So it wasn't without its problems, but it was like a bigger bit of money in, none of which was my own, and a much bigger bit of money out. So then I'm like, oh, because by the way, I'm saying, yeah, I'm making 10k a month at this point now. Don't confuse that with me having any of that 10k left at the end of the month. I did not have a bean. What I had was loads of Prada trainers, a Rolex, an A45 AMG, bit of a swagger, right? I was using maybe 40% of that money on my business, more ads, more flyers, more bandit boards, all that kind of stuff. Then the rest was just lifestyle money, right? I could go on holidays now. I could get nice dinners. I could buy Gucci. I could buy this and that. Like, it's just so funny how you do it. But this assisted sales selling, then I had like 18 grand in the bank. I remember saying to you, and making the choice to come and work closer knit with the platinum community. And for those of you who are watching this and don't know what I'm talking about, I will not have time to explain it, but the proteges who are watching this, and a lot of the community will watch these videos, if you have the chance to get into something like platinum, never mind legacy and all these other things, but that first step up into a mastermind, if you're someone who gets selected for that, or there's an opportunity, or you hear that offer made, you would be very stupid not to get involved with something like that, right? So I'm the youngest person in platinum at the time. I think I've just decided to join platinum. I'm sitting with this money, and I said to you, I was like, yeah, I want to be like a developer slash flipper slash assisted sale type guy. That's what I want to do. Now that I've done that one, it's amazing. And you said to me, excellent, but keep a deal trading aspect to your business. And mentally, I just was like, no. Like, I just thought to myself, nah, probably not as if I knew better, or I thought my opinion was worth more, but I just disregarded what you were saying to me, because I'd felt that excitement of having, 5 figures land in my bank for the first time, and I was like, nah, it's all right, I'll just focus on what I want to do.